it's over.
All right, there it is. We're live.
We are live. Carteret COnnects. This is, good Lord, can you believe 29 episodes, 28 episodes in the can. This is number 29.
29.
Big 29. It is Tuesday, June 17th. Is that correct? 16th, sorry.
Yeah.
Flag Day. Flag Day was on the 14th, Sunday. It used to be a big day where I came from, dare I say, Alan.
You know, yesterday was National Hair Growth Day.
What?
Yeah.
For what? What kind of?
What are you talking about? I guess one of the...
back from your home.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah.
If you could just keep it that.
I know. And
Yeah.
I'll try, but the problem is you got to cut it all. You know what I mean?
You get those. I've been seeing.
Because you can cut it here, but you know,
That's the
right
hard-
here's the hard part.
Yeah, yeah.
And once you mess it up, you got to go start all over again.
How those Mohicans do it, you know? But they have those razors. They have those what do you call it? Hair cutters. Those
Yeah,
things.
but
and I see
you
them
still-
advertised on
you
TV.
still have
where
to
they
know
get,
what you're doing.
You know, the Don Johnson look. You get that little
Yeah.
scruff going. I don't never could pull that off.
I can't either.
Maybe now I can.
I can't grow a beard though. So.
You got it going.
No, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I go for the clean.
Yeah.
You know. So no,
That's because you got the high and tight thing going
I do.
on.
I go into June's Barbershop in Swansboro, $5 haircut. I give him a $5 tip. I said, make me look like an old retired colonel. Never served. I'm not saying I did, but I just said, make me look like an old colonel. So they did it this time. They got me that. They got the sides tight.
You got you.
They gave me a little fluff on the top here.
Yeah, you need
I guess
it,
I
though.
need a cover.
Yeah.
I need to wear a cover.
You need
there.
a little bit.
I know, but I'm one day I'm going for that. I like that.
Mine is creeping from here back, you know, right here.
Yeah.
It's going back. I'm not like my dad. The dad's is like yours, is getting thin on the top.
Yeah, see, I don't see that though.
Yeah.
That's all right. You know what the hell.
Anyway.
I don't care, you know. So what are we going to talk about today? So it looks like Major League Baseball is shooting itself in the foot.
They are.
And,
No, they're not going to play. I don't think.
The last thing I heard that the players, I mean, the management had thrown out to the players was 70% of their salary, which isn't bad.
No.
They weren't going to play. They weren't going to play a 50% schedule.
It just shows you that the Baseball Players Association is completely unaware of reality.
Reality, yeah.
And the optics of this. And I'm not siding with the owners because let's be realistic. They have to be making more money or they wouldn't be paying these guys what they're paying them.
Yeah, and they got deep pockets. They'll survive this hiatus.
But with all the furloughs and lays off and that we're as normal people suffering, and these guys are like, I want to play less than half my games and I want all my money. It's insane.
And now it's gonna this is gonna develop into a rift because they're gonna lose this season. They're gonna go into spring training with this uncertain, and then they go into a collective bargaining agreement. I think in 2022. So all of next year is going to be leading up to the collective bargaining agreement, the CBA.
Well,
2022.
and don't get me wrong. If you look at it from the other side, the owners could very well, you know, who says that you have to make money every year? I mean, couldn't you, as the owner, say, okay, then we're going to suck it up one year and just go with it?
Yeah.
So it's fault on both sides. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it's hard to feel sorry for a baseball player.
I understand their plight. They want to play, but at the same time, they want to be compensated for their entertainment value. But come on, guys! We said this before on this broadcast. The minimum salary for Major League Baseball is like $525,000 or $575,000. Take 70% of that for the guys who are at minimum, which is not many. You know, after they get into 2 or 3 years, they're into being a senior player.
You know, if you really think about it, the money in baseball that the league and the owners are making has to be insane because you go all the way down the way that the minor leagues are affiliated, they're basically paying for that as well.
Yeah.
And none of those are making money. I mean, maybe a few here and there.
Right. The AAA, the big AAAs.
But nobody's really making money there.
No.
So you're funding all that. You know.
But there's money coming in from television. There's money coming in
The
from
TV
all
money's
the
right
signage in the stadiums and the concessions and the parking and all that. Blah blah blah.
TV money.
Listen, I think there's some true axioms in life. There's no such thing as a poor car dealer. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as a professional sports owner. There isn't. Think about it. I mean, even the smallest market, like for football.
Yeah.
Football is a bad example because they spread the love out. But Green Bay Packers, small market. They're doing pretty fine. They're doing well.
Yeah, well, you know, the league revenue sharing and things like that, while they've been around for a long time, a lot of those are newer concepts, at least in our lifetime.
Yeah. Well, you look at
and it's really helped
back in the day.
Basketball and football in particular.
Those owners, back in the day, those owners before free agency and all that, they owned those players. Like
they owned the players, and revenue sharing wasn't.
They didn't have the media. They didn't have the broadcast. They didn't have this thing, the internet. They didn't have television. They had radio.
Well, we spoke briefly yesterday about TV shows back in the day and the competition factor. They only had 2 other shows to deal with, or 2 other channels. Well, it's sort of the same in sports. The way it was set up before, these teams, the Yankees and the Packers and all these teams that were really good in the 50s, the competition wasn't there. They didn't have the revenue share, and there was only a few teams, so the talent pool was really concentrated. It's not like that anymore.
It was like that. The conversation we're talking about yesterday, because we didn't do a podcast yesterday, but on radio, in Coastal Daybreak, we talked about the transition from theater and radio shows in the late 40s, early 50s to television, in your small little black and white television. And what were some of the big shows that came out? I Love Lucy, but Gunsmoke and Bonanza.
And I asked the question.
And they lasted. I mean, Bonanza's run was huge, but who did they go up against?
I asked the question: were these shows really that good? Because they had huge followings, but they only had to compete with 2 other channels.
It'd be interesting. I mean, you do this with like your NBA draft. Who was drafted first in the 1985 draft, and how their career panned out, and who they went up against in the draft. It'd be interesting to see the lineup. I think Bonanza was on CBS, if I'm not mistaken. So there was NBC and ABC. Who they went up against in those seasons,
those days.
And they beat them all. Gunsmoke was another one. I don't think Gunsmoke ever went up against Bonanza.
Probably not.
But Bonanza did, and think about it. It's like, oh my God! I want to say it went 14, 15 seasons. It might have been longer than that. We got to look that up. But it was the same. I mean, you and I could have written the script for the whole time it was on.
And they gave them chances. I couldn't remember if it was MASH or Cheers or whatever, but one of those shows was literally at the bottom of their category for like a year.
I think it was MASH. I don't think MASH.
I mean, they were terrible, and then they were able to make it because there were only 3 channels.
Yeah.
And they got through it, and then they became one of the longest running shows ever.
Seinfeld was slow out of the gate.
Yeah, and that may have been the one.
They developed all the characters, but you're right. I mean, like Bonanza.
You wouldn't give those things a chance, and the snowball.
Can you imagine that today?
Yeah, they cut that. Look, they don't even waste a whole season anymore. If the show's slow getting out of the gate, they'll chop it at the halfway point.
No. And what was the premise behind Bonanza?
It
was father, Pa,
and
his 3 sons, and then their friend Candy.
I mean,
it was 3 brothers and a friend.
You often hear
5 guys living in their house with Hop Sing, their cook.
You often hear the older generation talking about, TV was better, and I'm sure I'll do the same thing, and I'm already doing it to some degree. But it was not. Let's be clear. The writing is just awful, and they're just not, if you wanted to watch something that you don't have to really look at because it's going to end the same way every time, then I guess it's for your...
What's funny, people may not have watched this series, but you had like the FBI, remember, in Technicolor with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. Remember they always tell you that. The FBI.
You remember when NBC had the Peacock that would spread out?
Living color.
Living
color. Then the Whalen Brothers then would do in living color. But you had those serious, and you say poorly written, like Dragnet, cop shows. And then what happened? About 20 years later, you got the parodies. You had Police Squad with Leslie Nielsen, which was hilarious. You don't see like those spoof type of serial TV shows. I mean, that was hilarious.
Some of those shows that they showed that were on back when I was real young, were just oof. I watch them now and I just cringe at it.
But you're right. Well, you know what it is. It's probably So you're from Richmond, and one of your classmates was what's Gilligan's? Not Gilligan.
Gilligan,
Breaking Bad.
Is
it Gilligan?
Vince Gilligan.
Gilligan, who created Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So he grew up watching the same stuff we did. He went to the movie theaters. That's where his mom, put him after school, and he became this terrific director, screenwriter, producer of all that. And Breaking Bad speaks for itself. Look at the writing in Breaking Bad.
That's what I mean.
So he saw that too, probably like, holy God,
the writing for the good shows. All right, the cream of the crop. I'm not talking about something that you see on Comedy Central or something. I'm talking about the cream of the crop shows. The writing is just so much better than anything you saw back then. I mean, it's like Citizen Kane versus Andy
like
Griffith show
Citizen
or
Kane.
something.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
too quiet.
it's
You know,
and that's supposed to be the greatest movie ever.
It's too quiet.
Yeah.
Look at Sopranos. You know, how do you?
Yeah.
And it was Terrence Winter.
The writing in it is just
How
fantastic.
how do you, as a writer, you know, and we've both written stuff, but not to the degree where you're writing teleplays and screenplays, but to write The Sopranos in the vernacular, the way in which they speak in Northern Jersey. You know,
I believe that
brilliant.
that's been the downfall of TV in general is the non-investment by the suits in writing. The shows that are really good that's why you have so many shows that are good for the first year or two, and then they don't want to pay the writers, and the show because the writing.
Or they think, you know what, that was easy. You know, we paid him way too much. We can get some other lesser.
Or you take their second
paid.
best writer and he goes off to do something
Right.
else. Now the team
Right.
is broken up. I don't know, but you know, you can always tell when the show runs out of gas with the writing. It's just they don't know where to go with it.
I think too. I mean, I wonder. I love Breaking Bad. If you guys haven't seen Breaking Bad, it's just a terrific Netflix. How many seasons did that thing go? Seven.
Yeah,
Something like
6 or
that.
7.
And you know all the sort of Walter White. He's a high school teacher, teaches chemistry, doesn't make any money. He's got a lot of debt. Learns and hears about methamphetamines because his brother-in-law is a DEA agent, and from there, and he makes the best.
But
best
the writing
theories.
and
But
stories are what makes it.
My point is Jesse Pinkman is I would say lead supporting actor with Walter White. They go into a partnership, and Jesse's the street guy. But does Vince Gilligan know that character before Aaron Paul, the actor, takes over the Jesse Pinkman character, or do they develop over time? Because
I would like to see it on paper and see what he actually wrote originally.
Because he has that delivery, and to Aaron Paul's credit, I love this about him. He grew up in Idaho, I believe, and he wanted to act. He never went to he had no professional training, nothing. His mother moved him to California, and he just did auditions.
I think a lot of that character is him.
Well, it's him, and but he also he because his character is in the drug world, and he gets hooked on methamphetamines in the show. He hung out with junkies.
As a lot of the actors do. There's more to it.
But that when he's talking about it, and you can go on if you want to have fun and have a smile on your face, go to YouTube, Jesse Pinkman and BITCH, and there's a 5-minute montage of every time he says that, and the way he delivers that line, I think is just hilarious. They go through each of the seasons and episodes where he says it. For instance, there was a scene in there, and I'm not giving this away, but I think it's hilarious, where they were trying to. They wanted to destroy evidence, I think, in one of the police property rooms. And Walter said, well, magno electricity can do that. We just need to get a strong enough magnet. So they remember that? They built this big-ass magnet inside a trailer, inside like a tractor trailer. And they're out in the middle of the desert. And it's filmed in Albuquerque. So they're out there and they have a laptop. And they're trying to get it close to see if it pulls. Well, it yanks the laptop right out of Jesse's hands and slaps up against the wall of the trailer. And Jesse's exclamation out in the middle of the desert is, "Magnets, bitch!" I think that it's just hilarious. I mean, it's not it's just the way he delivers that.
I mean, if you're not into that kind of show, then you probably won't like it.
It grows on you. It grows on you. I mean, it took me about a year or so.
It's in your face
for
and
people
it's
to
loud.
For people to they were watching it at work and they said you got to watch it. You'll like it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It draws you in. It addicts you like methamphetamines addicts.
Yeah, it's solid writing though. It's spun off 2 shows. It's just solid.
But you see the writing and the character development in that.
I think that they probably, like anything, are able to work together and collaborate once they get together. He writes it on the page, and then he's done with it to some degree, and the actor, if he's good, can move forward with that, much like any job.
I think that just the fact that he probably controlled the whole process, and Gilligan was the primary writer, whereas in Sopranos they had a lot of different writers after Terrence Winter, and they went off on just different tangents.
Well, the Game of Thrones had one writer, and he went off in a million different directions, but it was still a fantastic show. But he went in every direction you could possibly go. So I just think quality writing makes a show, unless the show is supposed to be mindless. And, I think reality TV really hurt. Mm-hmm. I actually have a theory that the writer's strike hurt the writers.
Yeah.
Because when they did that, then reality TV came in. And the suits realized, whoa, we can make a lot more money because we don't have to pay anybody.
The production costs.
And so now we're stuck with all of this reality TV that is just horrendous.
Some of it's being jettisoned, like the cops and the canine shows. You can't do that now. So cops and live TV, live PD, and Paws Patrol.
Yeah, I won't get into it, but you know my thoughts on those shows anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those shows are they are what they are. And now we got the 600-pound life and the Hoarders and
Hoarders is gross. I tune into that. And it's just, it's disgusting.
You got the people that come in and Now they come in and rebuild the house. That seems like that'd be expensive.
Hell yeah. Well, first you gotta move all the crap out of that,
and you gotta pay people.
It's not like they're they're not like they're hoarding like 15 cell phones. There's like empty garbage, empty tin cans.
Hoarders,
that were like
that's
cans.
insane.
Like, what the heck? What's up with that?
What about like that show where they're buying?
Flip It.
Well, sort of, but they're looking for a house on their budget, but their budget's like
that's
$2 billion.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and they're going to check out the properties in St. John's.
Yeah.
We're going to fly down to St. Croix. I really like the veranda.
Yeah.
But, from the outset, I said I wanted a little bit of seclusion. And
I want to see a show with my budget.
While we like that one, let's see if we can find some more.
Yeah.
This real estate agent is like, oh, God, these are just a pain in the
butt. I don't get it.
Well, this is $3.2 million. It's got it's got the privacy you wanted. You're 2 miles away from your nearest neighbor. Jeez. Yeah, I know, but the portico is just a little too small. Oh my God! You imagine?
I did see one.
Imagine man married to that person.
I did see one where they were in Alaska and they were looking at houses, and they were pretty secluded, but they were nice in their own.
Does it get cold up here?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I've always wanted to see it if I could live up.
I read a story. This was over the weekend. It was published Wall Street Journal over the weekend with Merriweather Post. Mm-hmm. And she was the heiress to C.W. Post, the cereal guy.
Right.
Back in the 1800s.
Right.
Oh my God, you should see her houses.
Oh, I'm sure.
She designed them. She designed and lived at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Where
I'm sure
President Trump now owns that. But she would build these houses, the whole 9 yards, the landscaping and all that. And she'd build a house and then get rid of the husband, get like a new can of husbands, a new house, move on. And she had 2 beautiful homes in Washington D.C. And when you get to that level, not where we live, but you start naming your house. It's a Hilldale probably,
and
Berkeley Estates.
Typically, because you're buying in such to-do areas, they don't lose any money because the land is what it's worth.
But they have FU money. They can just build whatever they want. But how do you find the builders to say, I like that ceiling. I've seen it in the Sistine Chapel. Can you do the same one, or can we buy theirs and put it?
Oh, well, like everything
did out of his house.
Well, like everything, that world is small. At the end of the day,
yeah.
Those people all know the same people pretty much.
How do you get a builder to give you a price for that? They must just see you coming a mile away. This post, that candelabra, that chandelier you want, it's $10 million.
But when you got that kind of money, you're really just concerned about can they do the job.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
You're not concerned about coming in at a certain dollar.
We won't have that worry in our lives. Take that stress off.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
It's like your buddy Michael Jordan. He's got his boat out there, his 80-foot boat, and he's
230-foot yacht he's got.
And that's the other one.
And the plane.
It was too big to bring into Atlantic City. And then the plane.
He's got at least 3 houses that I know about, and I'm a fan, but, so I'm sure there's more.
He's got 3 kids, right?
You got to figure they got.
I wonder how that works. We talked with Harvell and Collins about trusts and all that. I wonder how that works. I mean, Michael Jordan, he's our age. He's in his 50s, so hopefully he's got a long life ahead of him. But 30, 40 years from now, what's that look like for their estates? Who gets the plane? How does that work?
Oh, I'm sure they got a lot of that worked out already. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of it is.
Yeah. And the thing is,
because those kids are probably already good to go, and the ex-wife and the new wife, and the whole nine.
Yeah.
But you got that kind of money. You got lawyers that on top of lawyers. I mean, you have to.
I understand he's got his primary financial guy.
Yeah, lives
in Carteret County.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
You know what? That's not. You think about that. I learned that this past weekend. Somebody said that Michael's main financial guy lives in Carteret County. And you think, Carteret County, what? Well, Jordan's from Wilmington. He went to school in Chapel Hill. Now, who's to say that Mr. Financial guy here wasn't up in Chapel Hill?
Well, and again, you say main financial guy.
Yeah.
See, this might just be his safety net financial guy. Like if it was me, I would have all the normal stuff going on. But I'd have somebody that I trusted in the background that looked at everything once a year, once every 2 years, to make sure somebody wasn't stealing from.
So you don't have what's the guy, Bernie Madoff?
Right,
Bernie
exactly.
Madoff watching the
because you know
that's
got
a good point. Yeah, checks and balances.
So I mean, I wouldn't, and this guy would not know about that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure there are those guys.
That's what I would do if I had that, because you can't possibly look at all of it.
Yeah.
You know, from day to day. You know, it's one thing to be able for me to call the bank every day and see if I got my $5.72 there, but you know, he can't do that. You know what I mean? So
I wonder how often he takes the plane up in the air.
Oh God, I bet it's every week.
We should look at that,
because I mean,
we can track that.
Well, he doesn't. To my knowledge, he doesn't actually stay in Charlotte, but he's at most of their games. So 30 times a year, he's in Charlotte.
Where's his primary residence?
Still in Chicago, is my understanding.
Okay, so that bird probably is out at the
right. But I could be wrong with that. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
I know. I'm just wondering if you it's like you're sitting around at night with your family, and it's like, you want to go to San Francisco tomorrow? We can gas up the bird.
Well,
call the pilots and have it ready by 8. We can be home by tomorrow night.
Right.
We'll just go out there, catch a game, come back.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Well,
it sounds. I mean, it sounds
nice.
But
There's a rap line.
It sounds a little complicated too, because now you take the plane out to SFO. You're going to land at the big airport. Who's going to be your transportation?
No. None of that's complicated. You got a guy that does
that. Your people. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Your valet.
Absolutely.
You get Richard Clark.
One of the lines from a rap song is they using airplanes to change the weather. Basically meaning when it's bad here, you're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you're Michael Jordan, you have a personal assistant. You have to.
Yeah.
There's just too much other stuff going on. That's who takes care of that. Now they're probably just making phone calls, but they're taking care of that. Yeah. When you say, hey, you know what? I think I want to go to Philly and get a cheesesteak and go get up. He or she's on the phone, get the plane ready, we're on our way. You know that's how that works.
Do you think he's got like a bunch of guys sitting on the front porch of his house? One has a pacifier in his mouth, just like sitting there and like, hey, get the plane going. Well, oh man.
Well, that's what I mean.
It's run like a business.
When we were talking about their plane and the helicopter, you were talking about different ones. I'm sure that a lot of these guys or girls have multiple jobs.
They're valets.
Like security plus valet.
Yeah, concierge.
Yeah, I mean they do several different things.
Right. You would have like a retired, I'll just say retired Secret Service agent that heads up your security detail.
It's probably one of the guys that works with him at the Bulls.
And then you're right. You like those guys. Yeah. And then probably in your home, it's probably the chef. Why not?
Right. And then you probably got a nanny who doubles as the come along with the kid lady when you go on the road. Yeah. You got an assistant, a business manager who handles a lot of stuff, and your agent. If I'm Michael Jordan, I don't care how big David Falk is. Yeah. If I want something, I'm calling David Falk. All the money I've given you, hey, David Falk, I need a Chrysler LeBaron.
Got it.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but in his case, he's got endorsements with these people. I'm sure he just calls them. Whoever his contact is at Chevrolet. Yeah. It's like that in that show they were talking to the lady that was his what do you call it, intermediary with Nike.
Liaison.
Liaison.
Right.
And I'm sure he would call her and say, hey, my boys start basketball next week. Can you send them 10 pair of shoes apiece? Mm-hmm. I'm sure she handles that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, I know that's how it would be if I was him.
I think he's outfitted his old high school, Lanning High School down.
Oh, absolutely.
I saw it's named after
Jerry Stackhouse has been outfitting Kingston High School for 10 years.
Did they name the gymnasium after Stackhouse?
No, not that I'm aware of. Maybe they did recently.
They did in Lanning.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Come on now.
Well,
but Laney's only had Michael Jordan.
Right.
Kingston's had more than just Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah, true.
Make no mistake.
True.
Of all the cities in North Carolina, Kingston is basketball town.
I think that's cool. You know, Richlands had Mario Williams in football, and he gave back to the school.
Think about this. Kingston has had, to my knowledge, at least 6 or 7 NBA players.
That's awesome.
Kingston.
Yeah, it's awesome.
25,000 people town. Yeah. Do you know what the odds are on that? I mean, that's incredible. That is simply incredible.
Now, when you think about sports and you think about, well, so and so came like Joe Namath,
right?
Came from Beaver Falls. Who else?
Right. That's how it usually works.
Latrobe, even Arnold Palmer.
Who even else? Like Richmond, where I'm from, has only had like 3 NBA guys. I don't remember their names. I looked it up one time. Clyde Austin from State, but Kingston.
You could put Iverson down there, couldn't you?
No, he's from Bethel. Yeah. But yeah, that's for Kingston to have those guys: Cornbread Maxwell, Jerry Stackhouse, Brandon Ingram. I know I'm leaving somebody out.
Team.
Oh, Reggie Bullock.
Right. You could do a reunion team.
Yeah. Craig Dawson played for a hot minute. There's just a bunch of them. Mitchell Wiggins is from Kingston. I mean, it's just kind of insane, frankly. Mm-hmm. Again, it's lottery-style statistics, crazy.
Talent.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
The numbers, if you put them out there, you know, it's 1 in a million to get there anyway. Or probably higher than that. But 25,000 town? And all of these?
You would say,
wow.
if you didn't know it, you'd say, well, they must have some great development program from age 3 on up.
I don't know that that's the case.
Like,
I mean,
like you look at some football, like Pop Warner and all that.
Right.
Or soccer, like in Swansboro and in Carteret County and Onslow County, big in soccer. Right. You get all that.
Well, the equivalent that I can think of off the top of my head is there is a small town in the Dominican Republic that has put out like, I mean, we're talking about a small town, you know, one in villages.
Yeah.
But has put out like 10 major league players.
Baseball.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but you know, it's like Mariano Rivera or somebody's from there.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I could think of that's close. Really, I mean, it's just if you do this, a statistician or accountant would appreciate the numbers and this kind of stuff because it's insane.
It is
like
insane.
you said, Wilmington has Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And they got
Riley's got
a baseball player.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that's how it works. It's usually like in Richmond, there's this one guy and then the other guy that you barely remember. Mm-hmm. That's how it is everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, but in Kingston,
we're a big spread out country, but boom, right there in Lenore County.
I mean, look at Richmond is like you were talking about. Mario Williams, and I think there was a guy way back when that played.
But how many people play the game, and then they rise to the elite college.
And
may not get into the pros, you know, like DeAndre Tompkins in Swansboro.
And again, purely from a stats number, the NBA is the smallest amount of actual roster spots than the rest of them. Major League Baseball, surprisingly, has a lot because of the minor leagues and all that. And football, obviously, has, 32 teams at each roster's at least 50. So, there's a good amount that you could stick somewhere.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Basketball is 13, 14. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. But anyway.
Interesting. Well.
Yeah, we can wrap up.
Let's wrap.
You got a job to do today.
I got to do some business for the business community.
Yeah, he's back in his real job.
Got my uniform on.
And I got to go do my real job on our odd day. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Tune in next time. Carteret COnnects.